If you've ever been to Brazil, this will hit you. If you haven't, this will confuse you. And that's exactly the point. People who come to Brazil always say the same thing. This country feels intense. They can't quite explain it. They just feel it. And here's the part no one expects. Some people leave Brazil, but Brazil never leaves them. Because Brazil doesn't just change where you are. It rewires your nervous system. Life here isn't numbed. It's amplified. Everything is louder. Not just the sounds, but the emotions. Joy is louder. Anger is louder. Love is louder. Pain is louder. Life doesn't just pass by quietly. It hits you full force. Think about the streets. In many countries, streets are these quiet, orderly systems for getting from one place to another. But in Brazil, the streets are living, breathing organisms. You'll hear people talking over each other, music starting without warning, food sizzling on open grills. Arguments flare up just as quickly as laughter spreads. Silence is so rare that when it happens, it actually makes people uncomfortable. Foreigners feel overwhelmed. Brazilians feel at home. And then there are the people. Brazilians don't hide their emotions. They don't delay them or filter them. If they like you, you'll know it right away. If they're angry, you'll feel that too. If they're tired, they'll tell you straight up. This emotional transparency can be a shock for foreigners used to more reserved cultures where emotions are kept in check. In Brazil, emotions are meant to be shared. It creates intensity. Sure, but that same intensity is what builds deep, fast connections. Let's talk about relationships. In Brazil, they aren't just an optional part of life. They're survival tools. Family is everything. Friends are crucial. Your neighbors matter. This closeness means there will be arguments, drama, and a lot of noise. But what's incredibly rare is abandonment. People might fight today, but they'll be there to help each other tomorrow without a second thought. Foreigners might look at this and see chaos. Brazilians just call it life. This leads to something that can feel dangerous. Unpredictability. Plans in Brazil have a way of changing. Schedules break. Systems fail. This creates a constant underlying tension. But it also creates an amazing flexibility. People here almost expect things to go wrong, so they adapt incredibly fast. This keeps your brain constantly alert, your body present in the moment, and your emotions wide awake. That's why so many foreigners say, I feel more alive here. It's not because life is easier. It's because life demands your full attention. And the pressure here never really turns off. There's money pressure, chimney pressure, social pressure. But this constant pressure is a forge for emotion, and powerful emotions create vivid, lasting memories. That's why Brazil sticks in your mind so strongly. You don't remember your time in Brazil calmly. You remember it with an intensity that stays with you. Now, let's talk about joy. Joy in Brazil isn't polite or quiet. It's explosive. Music starts out of nowhere. Someone lets out a huge, infectious laugh. A celebration just appears on a random street corner. Joy isn't scheduled. It erupts. This can be confusing for foreigners at first, but it's also what hooks them. Because when you find joy in the middle of all the chaos, it feels real, it feels earned. And what about pain? Brazil doesn't hide its pain. It's talked about, laughed about, and shared. Pain becomes a social experience, and somehow shared pain hurts a little less. This kind of emotional openness is incredibly rare in the world, and it's strangely addictive. So, let me ask you this. Honestly, why do so many foreigners miss Brazil when they leave? It's not for the comfort. It's not for the organization or the stability. It's for the feeling. Brazil forces you to feel something every single day. And once you've experienced life at that level of intensity, a neutral, quiet life can start to feel empty. That's the addiction. So, a real question for you. Could you survive this intensity? Would you adapt to it? Or would it just exhaust you? Because Brazil isn't for everyone. But for those who connect with its energy, it never, ever lets go. That's why people leave Brazil, but spend the rest of their lives talking about it. That's why this country doesn't just fade from your memory. It leaves a mark. Now it's your turn. What do you think makes Brazil feel so intense? If you've been, what shocked you the most? What did you feel here that you don't feel anywhere else? Let me know in the comments. I promise, the Brazilians are already there waiting to answer. Thanks for watching.